Today we'll see how we can apply PCA to an actual dataset. Prior to applying PCA, we will apply ordinary least square regression on the dataset, calculate the mean square error, and then compare the output to the ones that we get after applying PCA and see if PCA does anything better on top of ordinary least square regression. Once we have the dataset heaters from internet, you can store it into a folder, then copy the path over here of the particular dataset and write R to the left. Let's see how the dataset looks like. It has the dependent variable salary. There are few blank values as well which we need to remove. There are two categorical variables to which we'll apply dummy and convert it into 0 and 1. The first block removes the NN from the dataset. The second block assigns dummies to the categorical variables league, division and new league. As league had two values A and N, it created two separate columns for those. Then we will create the test and train dataset. I am assigning a random variable to train, and every time the random variable is less than 0.7, it will assign a true value, else false. For the ones that are assigned true, we will send those values of hitters dataset to xtrain and at the same time drop the response variable. So by that we are creating the train dataset, and the ones that are not moved to train will go into the xtest bucket. Now we will do the linear regression. First I am calling a function MSE which will calculate the mean square error. The formula is, once we predict the salary for all the dataset that is there in the X test, we will subtract the predicted value from the actual value and square it. Then for all the rows we will sum the values and then divide it by the total dataset size. In order to carry out ordinary least square regression, first we need to create a function f, where in the first curly bracket we will be sending the response value, and in the second curly bracket we will be sending all the columns that are there in the xtrain other than response. Then we call model equal to smf.ols. smf is a package that is available in Python, which is for statsmodel.formula.api. Then tell that particular function what is the dataset. As we had two different attributes xtrain and ytrain, we need to concatenate those and create one dataset, which we have done it over here. Once it is done, model will store the values of the parameters so that the next time we send the test data, it will use those parameters to predict the value of salary, which is what we have done in the next line. We are sending the test data to the model and asking to predict on the test data and give us the predicted salary value. Once we have the salary predicted value, we will send the actual as well as the predicted value to MSE function and calculate the mean square error and square it to get root mean square value. The R square value gives how the model accuracy is. Over here the RMSE is 377, which is what PCA has to beat, and R square value, the model accuracy is around 53.9 or 54%. Before going to PCA, let's see how the residual plots look like. So there is a bit of coding over here which we will cover when we do linear regression. So there are four plots that we have come up, four residual plots. The first one is the plot of residual versus the fitted value. If there is any type of conical shape, then we can say that there is some type of non-linearity associated with the residuals. Over here in the normal QQ plot as well, all the dots should fall on the red line, but there are some deviation which suggests there might be small non-linearity in the residuals, or we need to transform our data like apply log or root over to the predicted variables or the dependent variables, so that and test if it can do anything better or not. The same goes for leverage as well. We can see there are few values which act as leverage and they might influence our output. Now we'll do the PCA. This is the same block of code that we have used in the second video, where we are sending the data set, calculating the mean, subtracting the mean from the data variables, then calculating the covariance matrix, getting the eigenvalues and eigenvector, then applying transformation to get the projected matrix. This projected matrix will have 23 columns for all the 23 attributes. Each column will be called a principal component, and the first column principal component will have the largest eigenvalue or lambda. Now let's see how the transform data looks like. This is the same data output that we'll get using PCA from the package that we'll be using next. Once we have calculated all the information, let's plot and see how the variation is distributed. Here we can see that after 6 or 7 principal components, they explain around 90 to 92% of the variance in the data. But is it enough? That if we take only 6 principal component, will I do anything better on top of least square? That we will see now. For that we'll use cross validation. What we are doing over here is that we are calling the PCA inbuilt function and then scaling the data set, that is either centering it by subtracting the mean or standardizing it by subtracting the mean and dividing it by the standard deviation, and then transforming it and calculating the projected matrix what we have seen earlier. Once that is done, we have all the 23 columns available. Now what we will do, we will pick the first principal component, carry out the linear regression and see what is the mean square error. Then we will pick first 2 principal components, carry out the linear regression and then calculate what is the mean square error. Similarly we will do it for all the 23 and see after what number of principal component we are getting the best mean square error. So the output will be like, after around 16 or 17 principal component, after using the 17 principal component, I am getting the least mean square error 333.12, and the graph also suggests the same 17 number. So next time when I will be sending the test data, I will be only using the 17 principal component to do the prediction on y hat. So how it is done, let's look how the cross validation function works. We create a variable model and assign the linear regression to it. We create CV10 where we assign the cross validation score. It is a 10-fold cross validation. So first we are calling that function cross underscore val underscore score, saying that we will be applying linear regression over here in the model part. Then we are saying that at first iteration you only pick the first principal component and also sending the y value to it. Then whatever the mean square error we get for each of the fold, for the first fold, second fold, third fold and till the 10th fold, whatever mean square error we are getting, we will get the mean and assign it to the variable MES. Then we will do the prediction. We'll use the model same to what we have done in OLS. We'll say that you take the reduced data set and only pick the first n number of principal components which gives me the least MSE. Here M suggests the same. Here the output of M will be 17. We are assigning the minimum of the MSE to M and then calculating the y hat. Then once y hat is calculated, we again pass these values to the MSE function and get the root mean square error. So the root mean square error that we get is 376, and the one that we had got in OLS method was 377. So it's not doing anything better on top of ordinary least square. Also at the same time the r square value is reduced from 54 to 42. So now if we again plot the residual plot, we will see that there is nothing much improvement as against the ordinary least square. But this is one of the method that is done on top of ordinary least square. There are few other analysis like Ridge, Lasso, partial least square, decision tree regression. These all are tried on top of ordinary least square to see if anything better can be done on top of the output that we get from ordinary least square. Because in ordinary least square we just assign all the variables and say that okay, these all variables are important, and the dependent variable is dependent on all the n number of independent variables, which might not be a case, because it might be a case that only 2 or 3 variables might explain most of the variance that is there in Y, which is what PCA is. That's it from me. Thank you.